lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and he missed the complete that. He's crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through, he tags Richard Eck.
In 1783, two French brothers, Joseph and Jacques Montgolfier, demonstrated for the first time a lighter-than-air flying machine. Now in the same country, but a lot closer to the ground, we look at Circuit de la Sarthe, the host venue for the Lotus 49 World Cup Championship presented by Tidal Influence. It's round 10 of 12 on a race campaign that celebrates the 50th anniversary of Colin Chapman's iconic racing machine. And bringing you all the action live as it happens is the Global Sim Racing Channel. Bonjour and welcome to GSRC's Countdown to Green. I'm Bill Subzon. With me in the booth is our Lotus aficionado. That, of course, is Joe Peak. Turning the knobs and pushing the sliders is our director, Amjad Yaman, and Dougie Beard is the camera guru. If you brought cyberspace into your place, then over the next 10 Streamy Award-worthy minutes, GSRC will bring you all the storylines, all the stats and facts you'll need to appreciate the 10 laps, that's right, only 10 laps today of simulated retro open-wheel racing that will be streaming your way. As always, this broadcast is made possible thanks to Tidal Influence, an ecological consulting firm based in Long Beach, California, that restores wetlands, saves and studies endangered species, and educates children about our environment. For more information, go to TidalInfluence.com. Now, last time at Laguna Seca, the series saw its first kerfuffle on the opening lap. Ove Trengere jumped to start, Jack Olstad's shifter malfunctioned, and Michael Morrison was slow off the grid, all of which contributed to a lot of drivers getting out of the race early. It led to Mick the Quick Claridge going wire to wire for the win, his 7th of the season. The Koala, AJ Baird, took second with Jack Olstad making his way back up the grid after a bad start to get his first podium of the season. After a stop and go for jumping the start, Ove Trengere did manage to salvage his day with a 5th place finish. Joe, even though Lotus never really raced here at Le Mans, somehow the track and car combination seems, pardon my French, apropos.
And you're not wrong that it's apropos, Bill. This car actually did race at this track, but just not this version. The shorter Bugatti circuit here at Le Mans was pretty new in 1967 and held the French Grand Prix that year. But weirdly enough, it was considered too, quote-unquote, Mickey Mouse by most of the drivers. I don't think there'll be complaints like that for the 24-hour layout that we're driving today, you can see on the screen. Using a mix of permanent racetrack and regular roads, this 8.5-mile circuit is incredibly fast. 33 turns on most tracks would be a nightmare of twists and bends. But here, you're left with plenty of long, flat-out sections that'll put the draft into play even. This place isn't just a test of bravery though, but it's also a test of precision, since there's a few spots where there's slowdown penalties just outside of the racing boundaries. Those at the top end of the race will likely be the most consistent as well as the most fast. And to show you how to run around this historic track, let's go to the GSRC lap guide. Alright, we're in the GSRC Lotus 49, so let's do a lap around Le Mans. On the front stretch, you'll get a fair bit of momentum going, which means the Dunlop curve won't be flat out. Especially with the 49's lack of grip, you gotta try your best to tuck the car over to the right side of the track, which means you might get surprised by drivers sending a sneak attack up the inside into the Dunlop chicane. The tough thing for them will be getting the car both turned in and gunned off the corner quickly. You might be able to get them back accelerating under the Dunlop bridge. But the Chapel Rundown is also not able to be taken flat out, so watch your line. In the Forest S's, it's important to try to keep the car tight to the apex. And then, coming off the right-hander, be careful with the gas as there's a big crest ready to send the car looping. Then, it's a short squirt on the power before one of the most important corners of the track. The exit of Tertre Rouge can make or break your lap time. Being confident with your right foot will be critical. Now that we've hit the Mulsanne straight though, we're going to skip ahead to the first chicane. The braking here invites you to take it later and later since you can really trail brake around that first apex to gain time. But push the limits too hard and this simple looking set of corners can bite you and send you spinning. Once again, getting back to the power early is important for carrying speed. At the second chicane, it's the same deal, but with the directions reversed. Find that edge without overcooking it and keep good traction to give yourself an excellent run off the bend. Both of them require a little throttle modulation on exit to keep the car pointed forward. Finally, the very tricky Mulsanne corner will catch many drivers out with its kinked braking zone. It'll certainly be a balancing act. Not just the car itself, but how much time you can gain braking deeper versus being planted for a good run off the corner. Because once again, we've got a long stretch where every bit of speed counts. Now, in most cars, golf corner and no-name corner mean nothing, but with the 49 bouncing its way along with almost no downforce, they become very tricky. You've got to straighten them out as much as possible and try to avoid going through too wide. Then you've got to set up for Indianapolis, which once again provides an incredible challenge with its kinked entry. Make sure you're able to hold to the right so that you can take as much advantage as possible from the banking on the left-hander. From there, you'll need to switch sides quickly for the best line into Arnage. This is one of the slowest corners on the track, and the wall of the outside provides little room for error as you accelerate. From out of there, the run to the Porsche curves is similar to the run up to Indianapolis. The kinks would be no problem in other vehicles, but in the 49, they're pretty hairy. Especially braking for the Porsche corner. If you stay flat out, the car likes to jump out from under you. As you woe it up, the important thing here is to set up for each subsequent corner. The bridge curves are probably the most dangerous with that big blue wall ready to punish the greedy. Into the karting S's, things really begin to slow down even more. At this point, it's extremely important to stay tucked to the inside because you can get a slowdown penalty for going wide at the left-hander. Once again, Maison Blanche is no problem for modern cars, but requires a lift in the Lotus. Then comes the Ford chicane, in which the first left-right is surprisingly rapid. Just try not to get greedy because you need the car to be stable to slow up for the second half. The curves are much taller here, but you can get pretty aggressive with them. Just make sure you can get to the power smoothly for the front stretch. And as you cross the line, you've now finished a lap around Le Mans.
An edited version going around Le Mans here by Joe Peak. Nice job, Joe. And now let me take you through the point standings as we are working now. Round number 10 of 12. You know, after last week, you can see on there's no red or green arrows. Everybody pretty much held station. Here's what was going on. You know, the wire-to-wire win for Mick the Quick Claridge. He opens up that lead now to 43 points. And unless there is some type of rip in the space-time continuum, that's about the only thing that's going to keep him from winning the championship. Now, the Norwegian Ove Trengereid, he finished 5th, so he picked up a little bit of points, but not much. Joshua Anderson and Michel Dudignon were not there, so pretty much they hold station. The big guy, the guy you got to keep an eye on is the American, Michael Morrison. He's now only a point out of being on the podium. You can see that they're 60 points back, Morrison 61 back of catching Anderson and Dudignon. Let's go down and look at the team champion, and once again, Claridge doing all the work there for the UK as the United Kingdom out in front by quite a distance. But there is some excitement going on for second, third, and fourth back there. Notice the interval, only 4 points difference between Australia, Norway, and the United States. Now, Norway's doing it all from Trengereid. He's the only driver there. But Australia, of course, has AJ Bear and also Joshua Anderson contributing some points as that one as well. And Soko. The United States, of course, with Benjamin, has Billy Bob Wright, Jack Olstad, Michael Morrison scoring points there. France, sitting there in 5th, all done by Dudignon. Now, Joe, let's go ahead and talk us through some of the race details.
Absolutely. We're on round 10 now, so after this one, only 2 more weeks to go, and they have no drop races, so you got to be consistent out here. Of course, as you mentioned, driving in the Lotus 49, and the setups are open. Now, the big thing about that is that there's no stops for fuel out here, so you got to get your fuel right. And just like in real life, we don't expect any cars to be coming in to take a splash and dash. Race distance, you mentioned it earlier on, 10 laps around here. So expect about a 30 to 40 minute race. Cautions, of course, just like in all iRacing official road racing, is local only. So there's not going to be the pace car coming out. And they do have an incident cap, 17 incidents, which is having an off-track, spinning, touching another car or the wall. 17 of those, and you are disqualified. You are immediately removed from the track. They have no fast repairs. Got to keep this thing clean, especially on a place with such high speeds where it'll be important to keep the car aerodynamically clean. And of course, the points, as always, go down to 6th place, just like they did in 1967.
Okay, and qualifying is just about done, and what we're going to do now is maybe see if we can get a shot of the French, their exhibition flying forces. Are going to go across. The name escapes me right now. They should be, if they have this time right, they should be by here any minute. A little prize.
Oh, I hear him now.
I hear him.
There they go.
Just about as loud as the cars. Oh, considerably louder. Nice camera work there by Amjad Young. All right, let's go ahead and tell you who is on the grid. Not quite as fast as those guys, but pretty darn fast. It's Michel Dudignon. Good to see him back. The Frenchman at his home track with Mick Claridge in second. Second row, Ove Trengerade and Bruce Nelson. Row 3 is the Australian AJ Bear and the American Brett Rael. Another American, Jack Olstadt, in front of inside of a newcomer, and Adam Kell. And then 9th and 10th, Billy Bob Wright and Benjamin Soko. Joe?
Christian Starkov starting in 11th, followed by Michael Morrison in 12th, David French in 13th, and Igor Standnik in 14th. Ian Bossi starts the race in 15th, followed by Hideki Koivisto in 16th, and rounding out the field is Don Good in 17th position.
Dudignon about 0.4 of a second faster than Claridge, which on most courses would say would be a blowout, but not here when the lap times are 3 minutes and 48 seconds around. We didn't mention it much, but we will have the chicanes thrown in on that long back straight, so it'll break it into 3 equal sections. We'll be able to be seeing some passing back there. Keep an eye now on the Frenchman, his home track. He's going to be starting up front on the left-hand side of your track, kind of in the outside position as they head down into Dunlop. That's interesting that they start you out there.
Well, the first real braking zone in most cars is going to be the Dunlop chicane, so that's why they start them on the left side.
The left-hander coming in. Okay, that makes sense. I can hear those engines start to harmonize now. Gather up the chickens, take cover behind the cows. The horses are out of the barn, and a horrible start from the UK driver. Claridge dropping way back.
Not only that, but I think he's lost connection on my end. So this is not looking good for him. Hopefully he reappears soon, because you really don't want to be disappearing at the start.
If he does reappear, who knows where he's going to come in. Right now, we'll tell you who we can see, and it is Dudignon out in front.
This could be an easy run to the win if we don't see Mick come back, but it's still very early to write it off to Michel. Right now, Bruce Nelson holding down second place, but just barely over Bear.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of guys that might be missing. We're seeing if there was some type of issue. A lot of guys are off the track that should be there.
Trangrade just lost connection, I'm seeing. Zoko lost connection, and Claridge have all three lost connection.
And add to that your lead commentator, who's having some issues as well, but hopefully I will be able to come back. Now I am back. All right, Joe, why don't you see what you can see out there?
Well, right now, AJ Bear is making the pass for second place on Bruce Nelson, at least what will be second place once we figure out what happened to everybody else. We can see on our screens that our timing and scoring has been a little bit screwed up by these connection issues. We apologize for that. We'll try to keep you up to date on what's actually happening out there. Michel Dudignon definitely running away with almost 3 seconds of lead on half a lap here.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little more comfortable now. Okay, I got Dudignon. It looks like he's got about a 3-second lead. Now, there is that battle. AJ Bear and Snelson being chased for second. You can see Dudignon just coming in. There you go, Snelson, and running in third position. Behind them, Billy Bob Wright up to fourth, Adam Kell in fifth, Morrison and Sarkow
It seems
seventh.
It seems like on the longer run from Tertre Rouge down to the first chicane allows you to draft by, but it's just not quite long enough through the other chicanes and up here to the Mulsanne corner to try and pull people back in. So that first chicane, I think, is going to be really critical in terms of passing throughout the race.
Drivers who've looked like they've had issues, Claridge, Trengerade, I don't see Rial, and Jack Olstadt are gone.
Now, if we go to Igor Stadnik, he was way to the outside on the entry here into Mulsanne corner, and I think you're seeing him now dropping back. That's one to watch out for, Bill. If anybody goes or enters too wide into that corner, there's a slowdown penalty waiting for you.
There they're coming at you. Looking at AJ Bear currently racing in, we believe, third position.
That's correct. Or no, AJ's in second, actually. Billy, or
no, I think.
Oh no,
Snelson.
you're right.
Snelson,
yeah, Snelson has
go.
gotten him back since then. Yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right.
Oh, we got a car tipped. That is Michael Morrison, who got turned around by Starkov.
Yeah, Christian came over and said, sorry.
This is an incredibly slow corner here through Arnage, Bill. And I think Christian was just a little bit caught out with the accordion effect, bringing everybody close together. Nice catch, actually, by Morrison.
Morrison now racing ahead of David French from Australia.
Yeah, that lost him a number of positions, unfortunately. Tell you what, that battle up front is staying pretty close, and I'm not too surprised by that, Bill. Like I said, this is one of the few tracks in the 49 where the draft really comes into play, and I think it's going to keep the racing close, at least from second to third. I'd say that the ship has sailed in terms of catching Dudunion unless he makes a mistake.
So he's come across leading the first lap. Opened up a 4.8 second lead. We'll hear some of the drivers coming over saying that they are locked up. Olstadt is still around, even though we can't see his car.
No, Olstadt's come back on track, so it sounds like a bunch of drivers' computers crashed. I'm not sure what happened there. Because that was strange that pretty much a number of drivers all experienced it at the same time. We could see in the chat, it sounds like Brett Rial experienced that.
Very strange. We've done a lot of races. First time I've ever seen anything like that. Well, we will cover what's out there right now as you're looking at. This is the best battle that we're looking at. This is Snelson. Now it's AJ Bear. Billy Bob Wright is in the mix as well. And then the last car in that four-car train is newcomer Adam Kell.
So the question is, can Kell figure out the secret of racing these 49s? He's trying to hold on to the back of them, and he's starting to drop off a bit. He's got to really work on his exits here, because that's the critical part of this track in these cars, is really getting to the power as soon as you can, cleanly, and getting the traction for these long straights.
See as they drop back there, that's... Sorry to be a little bit... I'm half listening to some of the drivers who are trying to figure out a solution. I think kind of the ship has sailed here, boys.
Yeah, it's just, I think they're also trying to do what we're trying to do, figuring out why everybody had the same strange problem at once. Mick Claridge, Ove Trangarade, and Jack Olstead all seem to have experienced it. And I think, did Zoko? Yeah, Zoko did as well.
Yep. A lot of veterans.
All right, okay, AJ Bear closing in on Snelson now.
Now, they head down into Mulsanne hairpin. Now look at the run that maybe AJ can bear. This is where, Joe, you said it gets kind of tricky here, huh? There's a place where you have to lift?
Yeah, so there's little kinks in here on the run up to Indianapolis. So I talked about it a bit in the lap guide. Right here, I believe that's called Golf, and then this one is called No Name. And they're pretty much single file. You really don't want to be trying to go too wide through here, and that's why you're seeing AJ Bear not try and push the issue.
Now that driver, there's Benjamin Soko, who has returned back to the track. They get around him.
He's trying to stay out of the way. Oop, that's a bad spot to catch them in Indianapolis. Tends to be a little bit narrow, and that's offered an opportunity for Kell on right, but he doesn't take it.
All this happening behind our leader, who has opened up about a 7-second lead.
Well, and 2 times of asking, Starkov has not been able to navigate Arnage successfully. And in fact, both times it looks like he hit someone, because who did he get this time? There's David French he got into.
And now Starkov have fallen back behind another newcomer here, Igor Sadnik.
I'm not sure if maybe Starkov was unsighted for his brake marker, or maybe he's just able to brake so much later than everybody else through there. But that's really bizarre that he had that same issue twice in a row.
Yeah, that's always been my excuse when I get into the back of somebody and says, boy, I'm much better at braking than you are. That doesn't really play off very well.
All right, only 2 laps, and Bruce Snelson is already 7 seconds behind Dudunion. Doing a great job of having a battle with Bear.
They are trying to organize. No, I think they're trying to organize some type of restart. As now, Bruce has slowed down. I think they're trying to do this. They're trying to organize and get back together. They're going to try to restart this race manually. Good luck. This is like getting iRacers to follow directions like herding cats, especially with multiple languages involved. And I think Snelson followed directions. He's slowed down.
Snelson's the only one following directions. I don't see anybody else slowing down. Okay, so Dunyan is slowing down as well, we're hearing.
I think he's going to act as the pace car. I think they're going to get this in. I'm not sure what they're going to do. Is some of these cars are... Well, they're all on the same lap.
Well, AJ Bear's still going. He's not slowing down. AJ Bear's just taken the lead. I think he's slowing. Yes, now he's slowing. He's got the memo. See, here's the problem, Bill, is if they try to do this, if anybody has their radio turned off, they're not going to know what everybody else is doing.
Yeah. Okay, Adam Kell is now in the lead. He has not gotten the news, and I think he's happy. AJ Bear saying that I missed all that as well. I had it on mute.
This is an ambitious goal.
It is. Well, welcome to the Global Sim Racing Channel. This will be fun here. They got to get it all done here relatively quick. Although it is done by laps. I had forgotten, Joe. We're not under a clock. So
yeah.
I guess they can take their time. They got to get a hold of Adam Kell, though. He has not got the message. I'll be
extremely impressed if they manage to get everybody to follow instructions and play fair on this one. That very much a credit to this community if they manage this, Bill, because this is a group of guys that are very much concerned about clean racing, obviously, and they're not so much worried about trying to get that last little bit of advantage unless it's in the spirit of the race. So. Yeah, I think that's what we're seeing right here. Kell's slowed up now. They're letting them through.
I think they might.
We got a car spinning behind them. Oh, no. AJ Bear, what happened to him there?
I think he got clipped by Igor Sadnik went by. He might not have gotten the memo.
Igor's from Central Eastern Europe. He might not speak English very well.
Here we go.
And Igor's taking the lead now. I think Igor does not speak English here is the issue. He's not a regular driver either, so maybe he's just not as concerned as these guys.
So we're watching you have Igor out in front. Dudignon running in second, French as they try to gather up.
Yeah, Dudignon slowed up. French is on there. Kell is on there. Morrison has just about caught them. Billy Bob Wright starting to gain grounds. He's got a little group with Starko and Snelson. And I think Zoko is in there. He's trying to get his lap back.
What they're trying to do for you viewers and for the Tidal Influence sponsor, they're trying to put on a good show here. They've almost got it worked out. They may not be able to get a hold of of Igor, who is going to be so sad if he gets the win and realizes that it was...
No, I think he may have slowed up. What's the gap right now? Is it only about 6 seconds I'm seeing?
Yeah. He's we're not getting the timing here, but...
Yeah, I'm looking, by doing the math, oh no, he's not slowing up. He's going full force.
All right, let's see. Now they come here. They're coming to the start. Let's see if they're actually going to slow up. Now it's time to start slowing up if they're going to do it.
Well, see, and this is the unusual thing, Bill, is if they're going to try and get everybody together for a good race, they... Okay, Igor just slowed up, so he's got the idea now. Michelle is our leader technically, but they need to slow up so much that Zoko, Real, and Trangrade need to do a complete lap around and get back to them.
Okay, now we have one car. We have Jack Olstad parked out there on the track. Okay, this may work.
Okay, they are actually going to do a complete restart. Wow.
I am beside myself with what's going on here. This is a great job from these guys.
This is perhaps the most bizarre incident I've seen in official racing in 7 years of running on iRacing.
Okay, so right now Benjamin Soko is out there. I think they're going to let him circle around and try to get him to get his lap.
Okay, so I think they've abandoned the restart potentially here.
So right now yeah, we're getting it set up here. Looks like they've stopped on the front straight. Dudignon moving to the front. French is in there.
And Dudignon has gone well past the start-finish line, unless they're establishing a different one here.
Yeah, I think they just want to make sure everybody has enough fuel. And I think they're going. I think they're ready.
They're still chatting quite a bit. Our viewers can't hear it, but there's a lot of talk going on trying to organize the group. They've done a really good job so far.
Mick Claridge is out there on the lead lap. The only cars. Oh.
So Benjamin Zocco is the farthest up, who is a lap down, and he's running back through. Claridge needs to make his way through. So does Rial, Ulstead, Bear, and a few others, I believe. I'm not sure why they're staying stationary.
And now they're saying they should refuel, but I don't. That doesn't make sense to me because the race is only going to be.
They may be overcomplicating the issue here. Yeah. I think they just need to let everybody know who's on the lead laps and the other guys around.
They're not like they're going any extra distance, so yeah.
So Ove Trangrade's actually 2 laps down. We see him on screen. He's got even more to try and come back through. There's still talk about refueling. I don't understand this one, Bill.
Maybe the idling. Maybe the time sitting idling is burning up fuel right now. They're burning fuel even though... Joe, let me ask you a question you may not know. Can you turn the engine off on these things?
I've never had to do that, to be honest.
All right, what they are doing is taking fast repairs to the pits right now.
Well, not fast repairs, just tows.
Just taking a tow to the pit.
Apologies to the audience. We do have
our director
sort of pass for the lead.
There's a pass for the lead. I think this is going to work out. I'm actually happy to be here. This is something you got to give them credit for.
They're trying their hearts out.
Yeah.
They're saying
and now
broadcasters should go to a break.
And now they are directing from the cockpit, telling the GSRC to go to the break. We're not going to a break, boys. This is the most entertainment I've seen.
I think let's stick with it for now. We've had to fill air for 6 hours of an endurance broadcast. I think we can fill air for this. So
this is too entertaining. I'll tell you, the guys at Tidal Influence must be the smiling ear to ear for the effort that these guys are putting in to put on a good show for the sponsor.
I was going to say, I think this... I want to point this out to iRacing. I'm sure they'll be aware, since this is on iRacing Live, that there's some talk of racers being selfish people. They're always self-centered, and this is a credit here to the iRacing members, to them being devoted not just to providing, here's a race and there it is and everybody's all for themselves. No, these are guys that are concerned about fair play and are looking for the best race possible for everyone involved. They're not worried about taking advantage of what is possible within the sim. They're worried about making sure that everybody has a good experience out there. And I hope all iRacers who are watching this are standing up and clapping for these guys, because this is fantastic that they're going to this much effort to get everybody a fair race.
And if you take it one step farther, they're racing for the points here in the Tidal Influence World Cup Championship, right? But they're also racing for iRacing points. So you could steal. I mean, let's take Igor for a chance. I mean, winning this race would have been a big feather in his cap. It would have helped him big time in the point standings. But but everybody plays fair. This is really, I'm up standing and applauding right now. Okay, let's go ahead and recap what happened. There was some type of technical issue where 4 or 5 of the drivers lost connection right at the start. Big names that included Mick Claridge, Jack Olstad had trouble, Benjamin Zocco, drivers that are regulars here. So what they have done is they have pretty much thrown a red flag, Joe. Wouldn't you put it that way?
Yeah, I think that's a good comparison.
And they've tried to gather up all the drivers who are 1 lap down, tried to have everybody get their laps back, and they'll try to get in what little lacing they can get.
They're on lap 4, though, and they're talking about this issue as well. This is going to be a much shorter race. So this is, well, it wouldn't be run on aggregate like they used to do back in Formula 1 when they would red flag it, but sort of a similar situation where they've shortened the race effectively.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I don't know if Nimcross Jr. is watching this. I know he has coaching and things that they do for when drivers do things wrong. When they do things exemplary like this, can we get a badge or something for some of these guys? Nim, if you're listening.
And let's go ahead and put this in perspective. I've seen real world races that aren't as organized as what I just saw here. This, what they're doing, makes more sense than things I've seen for people who are getting paid a lot more money than these guys are. It's a matter of getting everybody back on the right lap is the issue that they're having.
Yes, I think they're close to doing that. They would have been a lot closer if they hadn't taken this extra lap. I'm still not sure I understand the fuel thing. I think they should have just stayed put and let them get back around to them.
From best I could tell, they were worried that they still had the same distance to go, but they were idling for 3 or 4 minutes, and they might have ran out of fuel.
That really shouldn't eat up too much fuel, though. I mean, not enough that it would really. The weight difference is not enough. That's going to be like half a tenth of a second around a track like this.
Yeah. And now, well, I guess what we can do here is we can go ahead and take a little break here as they start to get this organized. We'll come back as soon as they get close. Looks like these drivers have to go around one more time. So you're watching the Global Sim Racing channel. Hey, don't go far away because we'll be back and we'll get this thing underway for a little short finish. Welcome back to the Global Sim Racing channel, to one of the most unique situations we have ever had so far on GSRC. We have a driver organized restart in an official iRacing event. It is going to be a 6-lap race from here. Now the laps may not count, so our timing and scoring may be a little bit off. Some of the drivers may not be all on the same lap.
Some of the drivers are now getting their lap back. I thought they were, but now we've got some of the leaders going as well.
I think they're not going to worry about, because Trengarade is showing about 5 laps down, so I think they're just going to race it right now as if they're all on the same lap. We're just going to do it old-fashioned playground style. Right now on the pole, it is going to be Nick Claridge. I think they're going to restart this thing as if it were fresh. On the pole in the number 2 car. Now, it's not going to, our timing and scoring is going to be way off. It's going to be Nick Claridge. Trengrade is going to be in the hunt as well. Ulstat, as they start to get sorted up. I believe one of the drivers is going to say green, 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 and this thing may go anytime.
I think this is the first time this car's probably ever done a rolling start. Yeah, we're getting it from Ulstat. Not worried about how many laps we have. We're just going to put on the show. We'll let the announcers call the race. We're on board with it, Jack. So they get them lined up. They're trying to get back one driver who started to move away. AJ Bear was out in front, but now he's going to tuck back in behind. I think we are just about ready to go back racing. It's going to be 6 laps from here. And it's amazing in all this, none of the drivers have gone rogue. Everybody's still playing along. I mean, nobody's gotten frustrated enough that they've taken off.
I tell you, I've seen a lot of things. Got to use this phrase. I save it for special stuff I've never seen before. Put the hammer in the oven because the camel has learned to read. I'm not sure what I just saw, but it has worked. They are just about ready to go green. 1, 2, 3, go, and we are under green, and it is going to be Mick Claridge out in front. Ovre Trengere in second, Bruce Nelson in third, AJ Bear and David French. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. The numbers you're seeing, that we're not even going to show you now because they're wrong. We're going to just do it old-fashioned ways.
Coming out of the first chicane, Ove's going to have a clean run, but Mick is hot on his tail. Down to the Michelin chicane. Behind them, they've got Snelson trying to run in third. He's being chased by AJ Bear, and that's the top train there, Bill. Everybody else is split far apart behind them.
Now the leader's down into the second chicane here. This is the Michelin. It's the left-right combo. Claridge trying to look to see if he can get around the Norwegian.
AJ Bear took a little bit of a look on Snelson. Oh, and that put Snelson way off the racing line. A little bit off the course, but AJ Bear can't get the power down as well. The door very much up for grabs.
The door was open for Snelson, but he couldn't step through as that car got loose. As they continue, Snelson on the preferred line.
And there's a battle for the lead as Claridge and Ove are now side by side. Claridge looking to the inside. This is going to be tough to break for this corner. They managed to keep out of each other, and Claridge is going to come out on top.
Big as they go through the Mulsanne hairpin now. This is where we talked about where it's pretty much full throttle. We don't know how much full throttle it is for Claridge. They may have more talent than us.
No, this is full throttle all the way up until Indianapolis. It's just that you don't want to go too wide through those little kinks.
A little bit of a run back there from the Norwegian, but he's going to settle down as they come in now. Here comes the right-hand kink that sets up Indianapolis. The 90-degree left-hander. Staying right with him, though. Adam Kell is in there. Snelson running in fourth. AJ Bear in fifth. Michael Morrison sixth. Jack Ulstat in seventh. Those are the guys that are close to the front.
Wow, horrible run off of Arnage for Bruce Snelson. And AJ Bear, I thought was going to be able to capitalize, but he can't get the power down out of there. A little bit of a close battle behind them between Michael Morrison and Jack Ulstat, though.
Ulstat was peaking, but he couldn't find a way around. Now our leaders start to go into the Porsche S's.
And I tell you what, this blue wall on the right side is so scary if you're pushing right to the limit. You got to get right up to it, but not quite touch it. It's almost like a street course of that portion.
The Norwegian back there as you watch, riding on board.
Wow, Ove just all over Mick Claridge. Wow, he gets loose though. Or at least I think maybe he got loose. He was weaving across the track. And that gives him a little bit of breathing space. Mick Claridge over Ove now, still leading the way. Adam Kell still in third place. Starting to break away a little bit from Snelson in fourth. The podium getting some breathing room.
Oh, very loose up in front was Claridge. He's lost a lot of momentum. Trengere may have a run. That's going to cost him for a while. Let's see if the Norwegian forces the issue. No.
Let's stay on this, but behind them, Michael Morrison lost one place, almost lost two. Billy Bob Wright tried to take a look after he had a bad run through the Dunlop chicane, but he's recovered now.
Nice job from Adam Kell, a newcomer running in third.
One thing I'm pretty sure that we can say is accurate at this point is the laps to go is right. So, viewers, you can pay attention to that one.
Let's have a pass for the lead. Here comes on the inside is Trengarade making a move in the number 4 machine. He's going to get that done. Claridge drops back.
Joe, Billy Bob Wright had a problem. Oh, I think maybe he blew an engine? Let's see if we can...
I also see a problem also from David French has had an issue. That may have been from a while back.
Interesting. So Billy Bob Wright, for whatever reason, has had to end his race early. Meanwhile, pass for the lead once again. Trengarade on the right side, Claridge on the left.
Now they're coming into the next chicane. Claridge gets it woed up, so Trengarade had the lead for a little while, but the UK driver gets it back. Now we're going to look on board from the driver in third position. This is the newcomer, Adam Kell, looking up. That's Trengarade ahead with Claridge. And here, we're going to get a good view of this one as Claridge continues to be challenged by the Norwegian driver. Is he going? There he goes. Makes a duck to the inside.
These guys are so brave doing this into that corner. The car gets very loose braking into there. And look at Kell taking a wide line. He knocked that cone. He might get a slowdown, and he does. Kell gets a big slowdown, and he's going to lose touch with our leaders.
So you can see now the battle behind Kell as they come in there. That's Morrison in there. That's Morrison on the left side of the track. Down low is AJ Bear.
There's a battle for the lead as well, though, because Claridge side by side with Ove through those tricky kinks I was telling you about. They got all kinds of loose through there.
And here it is. There's another kink here. Now they get to the left-hander. That's going to be Ove on the inside. He's going to force the issue. Is Nick going to come across the nose? They leave each other room. Claridge gets good momentum out of Indianapolis as they head into Arnage.
All that fighting has allowed them to close up, but side by side, a little bit of contact as Jack Olstead almost goes around.
We'll go back and look at Olstead. He's in there now. One of the drivers that he's fighting with, that I see Dudignan now running in about 5th or 6th position.
And that was AJ Bear who got into him. We saw on the replay. Was looking for a pass, but just couldn't get it slowed up. Seems like Arnage is calamity quarter this race.
Okay, now, timing and scoring has him several laps down, but let's go ahead and go back to the Frenchman, Michel Dudignan, because I think it's worth noting where he is right now. Up in front, you got Claridge, Trengarade, Kell, and Morrison, and then it's quite a gap back to Michel Dudignan, but he's got around all the stuff behind him. Let's see if the Frenchman can put in some hot laps, get up there and race with the big guys. There's still plenty of time. I think 4 laps to go after this.
On board with him now.
Look at him close up as they go through the chicane there that heads out.
Yeah, he's certainly going to make this an interesting one up at the front with Ove and Mick. Those two have been the fast guys. Michel's been the sort of the wrench in the mix when he shows up sometimes, as Mick Claridge has a big old slide into the Dunlop chicane.
Remember, in the qualifying, which was official, that was an actual time. That was your pole sitter, was Michel Dudignan. So now, we look at the battle. Those 5 cars coming at you that we are documenting. The one back in the train is Dudignan. He's the last one. The engine of the train, Claridge. The coal car is Trengarade. And I'm out of analogies using train parts, but watch the caboose. Here comes Dudignan as he makes a move inside of the number 6 of Morrison.
Easy pass for him through Morrison. The draft really helping him there. Pass for the lead in front of them, though, with Trengarade using it to slingshot by. And I think that was facilitated just a little bit as Mick looked like he lifted. Oh, but Ove cuts the course. That's going to give him a big slowdown potentially here.
He loses. What, is he going to have to pay it now? No, so far he hasn't paid it, so maybe got away with it. Look at the driver from third. Here comes Kell. He gets 1. He gets 2.
Oh, but are they going to go 3 wide? 3 wide, shooting the middle. Who is that?
That's Dudignon!
Wow! From 5th to 1st in half a lap.
Viva la France, as Michel Dudignon has come from 4th to 1st. We're going to watch a replay from on board.
This
Dudignon's.
is brave stuff
How
here,
do you
Bill.
do this?
This just incredible trust. Like, there's barely a car's width. I don't know how he could tell he had enough room.
Now we are back live, so let's set the stage. Dudignon out in front. Kell, who I thought made an incredible move to go from 3rd to 1st, sits in 2nd. Claridge, your points leader, in 3rd. Ove Trengere trying to get his first win of the season back there in 4th. And Steady Eddie, Michael Morrison, watching the whole thing from 5th.
Claridge lost that position to Ove, who moves himself up into 3rd. That's going to be a little bit disheartening for Kell, thinking he's doing a fantastic job going from 3rd to 1st, then all of a sudden have someone blow by him from even farther back.
Joe, we talked about it a lot, and I know these cars aren't draft dependent that much, but that sure did feel like somebody had a toe on that one.
When you got cars 3 wide across there, that's a huge hole in the air that's being punched, so this is a bit of unique circumstances, Bill. These fastest straights and cars going 3. I don't think I almost ever see 3 wide in this car.
Let's look at Claridge back there as he's challenged by Morrison. Claridge on the outside. Once again, I've seen this from Mick so much. His car always seems on the edge of crashing.
He certainly likes it a little bit more loose than others, which is interesting because Mick has helped out with sets a lot in the past. And they tend to be pretty good.
Dudignon, your leader. Kell in 2nd. Trengere in 3rd. Claridge and Morrison. How about a tip of the hat to all of the guys for giving us this racing action that didn't have to happen? Thanks, boys.
They're going to get 3 more laps of it after they cross the line here.
And we'll call it in the very back. You can see that Snelson running in, I think, going to call it 6th position. Soko in 7th. Jack Ulstad, who really was a big part of getting this thing organized, back there in 8th.
And already with Dudignon, he's not sitting around. He's stretching this lead out. And Kell's having to contend with Trengere now that he's gotten past Claridge, trying to retake 2nd. Gets a great run coming out of the Forest S's. I think we're going to see the pass here down on the Mulsanne. We've seen this is probably the most draft-heavy portion, this run up to the Forza chicane.
Car in behind, that is Trengere, ducks inside. It's going to get it done quickly, even before they get to the chicane.
And for reference, Bill, they're hitting 203, 202 miles an hour without draft in these cars. That is pretty darn fast.
That's why even today's standards.
Yeah. Again, though, we have to remember these cars didn't actually race on this version of the circuit. And that's probably why.
Looking back, there we can see right there is our director able to get up Ove Trengere. Looking back. Not in 16th position, currently racing in 2nd.
Morrison's in a nice little battle with Mick Claridge now. He had somehow gotten past Mick when we weren't looking, running in 4th position.
He'd made a stab at him a couple times. Now, it'll be interesting to see what the series organizers decide to do with points. I'd like to see them just go ahead and give out the points as they are racing right here. Call the winner here, if I had anything to say about it.
Yeah, and I think that's the convenience that they have about having this unofficial championship that they're running. They can go ahead and do that. Now, unfortunately, looks like Don Good has had some trouble because he's in the pits right now. Going to go back and see if I can figure out what happened to him.
Meanwhile, Adam Kell racing in third, car number 8, really doing a good job. Late to the series, but he's been able to run with the big boys. He's certainly got the pace to run with Ove Trengrade. I'm going to have to do a little bit of research here, find out a little bit about Adam. Maybe he can come in and talk to us, find out where you're from.
Well, Adam looks to be from the UK&I club, so he's across the pond. Or if, in this case, he's across the channel.
Across the channel, there you go. Or the channel, I think, is... That's one way to get there, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the ways. And the Brits do love Le Mans. They tend to come over and invade to see the race. From what I understand, there's a high contingency of UK people, UK race fans, that make the trip. And I don't blame them. If I was that close, I'd love to make a trip out to see this race in person.
Taking a quick look at Claridge's car, unless it's just a really strange paint job, I think he has some front-end damage, which could be really slowing him down.
That would explain why he's getting dropped by these guys. Like I said, you really need the car to be whole. And yeah, I'm seeing it too there on screen. It looks like somewhere along the way he got into someone or something, and that is just absolutely destroying his top end.
Your leader, Michel Dudignon, second place. Ove Trengrade, as we're working with 2 to go now. Adam Kell, Michael Morrison, and Mick Claridge has dropped back to 5th. Now, a driver keep an eye on, we haven't given him much attention. Bruce Nelson has been running some pretty good lap times, and with Claridge suffering, as I say that, look though, Claridge must be listening to the broadcast, because all of a sudden I start to mention that he's off the pace. Next thing I know, he's right back on, he's right in the hunt now behind Morrison and Kell.
Yeah,
What
Kell
I think, Joe, look at this, I think you can see Claridge pays for it in straight line speed. He makes it all up through the technical sections.
Which has got to be frustrating, because he knows that if he passes anybody in those technical sections, he's really got to gap them quickly.
Kell gets passed by Morrison as they go through Forza.
Almost what he needs to hope for is that the draft can help him enough right here that he can hold on to the tail of these guys, and then when they do hit something like the Porsche curves, he can get by just as they hit the Porsche curves and try and put some gap on them. But right now, Kell and Morrison have just been swapping that third position back and forth.
As if they were in skippies right now. This is kind of action we would see going back and forth. I'll get you on one part of the straightaway, you get me on the middle part. And there comes, look, you can see how good Claridge is whenever there's anything technical. He gets right up on him, but then they start to pull away.
He's trying desperately, Bill, to make the most of it and really get up to the back of him. The problem with that, I think that we're seeing, is it can halt his momentum if he doesn't time it right. And you can see just how much he's dropping back from that view from Adam Kell.
Dudignon, our point leader, making it through the Mulsanne hairpin right now, being followed by Trengrade. This gap is quite a distance, maybe 20, maybe even 30 car lengths as Dudignon has begun to open it up.
I'm starting to wonder if Claridge can even hold on to these guys. I think the only reason he is catching is because they're fighting so much.
Can't remember what passes we called, but right now Morrison is back out in front of Kell. Don't remember when we checked on him last. They're getting about 3 or 4 passes in per lap. Claridge right in behind him. The guy who has a healthy car that is fast is the number 5 machine of Bruce Nelson. If he could just keep... I'm not sure he's going to have enough time to get there. Racing in 6th. But it is a point.
Absolutely. All right, let's see what Claridge does here through the Porsche curves that they're coming up to. And this is definitely the place. This is really where he wants to be past them, because after the Porsche curves, you got the front stretch, which isn't really going to be long enough to hurt him as much as the back portion of the circuit. So he could use all the Dunlop chicane, Dunlop curve, the Chapel rundown, all those corners to try and continue to try and streak away. But right now, he's not even past them yet.
And we believe this might be Although we're looking at 2 to go still. We think that there should be the white flag, we think.
There it is.
There we go. Now, if you want to talk big picture, maybe talk about the Constructors' Championship. Remember, we saw France was sitting in 5th position. They were way back, but here's some big points that Dudignon is going to pick up. Then it was real close between those other guys. Norway's going to get the best out of him with Tringray sitting in 2nd. USA going to get some points. And for the first time, Mick Claridge is not going to be the top points scorer for the UK. As that right now is going to go to Adam Kell. Assuming he can hold
If
off.
he can hold, yeah, I was going to say, that's not a foregone conclusion. All right, through Tertre Rouge one more time. Is the draft enough? Mick is very close to the back of Kell now. I would think he's getting enough of it here. No, he's dropping off. Wow.
He just cannot do it. But meanwhile, well, I'm not sure if it's that much he's fallen off, because look at the run that Kell has as he gobbles up Morrison. Just as if Morrison was standing still.
Morrison, you saw, wasn't fighting this one because he knows he's going to get a run out of Mulsanne. Not necessarily through here, unless he just gets a phenomenal launch.
So they have this section where he could get a run down into the Michelin chicane, which I don't think he's going to do. You say you might as well wait until after the Mulsanne hairpin, do it down in Indianapolis, probably.
Yeah, that's a much longer portion where you're flat out. Again, you got to contend with those little kinks along there, but to me that makes much more sense.
Our leaders are through Michelin right now, heading down into that top of the Mulsanne hairpin. Dudignon well out in front. Tringray just cannot get that first win, sitting in 2nd. Real excitement is back here for 3rd. Kell being stalked by Morrison, and then the injured Mick the Quick Claridge.
And actually, Mick is starting to fall back into Bruce Snelson, which Snelson might get him on the run down to Indianapolis here. All right, let's watch Morrison. Let's see if he uses the draft here.
Come the race 4 in line. Kell takes, kind of moves to the right, kind of takes enough. Is that a defensive line he takes? Now he eases back over the left. Now here he comes. Is he going to force the issue?
He thought about it, and the interesting thing was that Kell felt that he might be brave enough to try it because he went defensive on him. And Snelson managed to overtake Claridge. Whoa, Morrison not done yet. Pushes him wide a little bit through Arnage. He gets the launch off the corner. Can Kell do anything? He's got Snelson coming up now.
And that's the opportunity for the 5. He got it. He's got to run. Snelson maybe won in both of those spots.
And Snelson is also an American with Morrison here, so it's going to be a fight for who's the top American to score points.
Snelson's going to be on the wrong side. Boy, the car is wiggly. They race in diamond formation. The point being Morrison.
Oh, he barely gave Kell enough room on the inside of the Porsche curve there, but fair game. They managed to make it through.
Dudignon now is just coming into the final chicane. He's got the left, the right combination. Another left, another right, throttle down. Give the unofficial win, round number 10, to Michel Dugnan. Oh, that's actually, and the official win as well, yeah. Now, let's look back here.
Oh, Ove pulled over, interestingly. Oh, he had a mistake. He spun.
So Morrison, we're going to see Morrison in 2nd. Snelson gets 3rd. Kell, we'll see what happened to Ove. Is this a gentleman? Was this a sportsmanship? No, it was a mistake.
And that's easy to do into that chicane there, Bill. You have a pretty fast entry, and right when you want to downshift at the proper time, your shifting tends to like make the car get loose. So it's so easy to loop it coming in there.
Now, before I go off to sign off to break, before I forget, let's give a big thank you to the drivers for organizing that and giving us something to broadcast here. I'm sure that we appreciate it here on GSRC, and the folks at Tidal Influence as well. What we're going to do right now is take a short break. We'll come back and talk to the drivers. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be some interesting stuff. We'll run down the finishing order the best we can, and then close up shop. Welcome back to the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of a very unique event. This is round number 10 of the Lotus 49 World Cup Championship presented by Tidal Influence. Now, while we are racing for the Lotus 49 Championship here from Tidal Influence, I guess the Tidal Influence Cup, this is an official iRacing event, so we're going to run down the official standings here as far as iRacing is concerned. Michel Dudignon up in front, Michael Morrison and Bruce Nelson go second and third. Adam Kell, Benjamin Soko round out your top five. Christian Starkov, Brett Ryle, Ian Bassi, and Igor Stadnik round out your top 10. Joe? I guess then, with Mick Claridge. There we go.
Yeah, Jack Olstead comes home in 11th with AJ Bear in 12th. Hideki Koivisto 13th. Don Good in 14th. Ove Trangarade in 15th. And then William Wright and David French round out the field in 16th and 17th DNF'd.
Now, as far as the points go for the Tidal Influence Cup, which I have just coined the name of the championship cup here, it's very possible that they just may nullify this race and call it a non-race. since it was all mixed up. But what they did come out is give us some good racing and put on a good show. So we hope you enjoyed watching it. We're going to go ahead, since this was unique, we're going to try something unique and maybe bring in everybody at once. Right now, we only have one driver. So when I say everybody, I can do that pretty quickly.
Oh, we're getting some more.
Oh, here we come, Mick Claridge. We're going to bring in the whole party here. We're going to bring in Michael Morrison in there and also Mick Claridge as well. Boys, tip of the hat for giving us something to watch. Nice job. Michael, you had some fun out there racing.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun organizing. Basically herding cats until we figured out how we were going to restart the race. It reminded me a lot of Tour de France. We have this one car hit a rider into a barbed wire fence, and everyone stopped the race. Or it was in the same season that they did this, but everyone in the cycling race just agreed to just stop racing and reorganize themselves until they can figure out what's going on, because there's a guy who's literally cut up trying to catch up to everyone. And yeah, it was basically like that, but half the field gets knocked out before a race even starts, essentially. So we just kind of collectively decide over the course of like 3 laps, it felt like, to get the race right.
Yeah, worked out fine. It's nice that we have Mick in here as well, because you had a nice little battle for Mick. I got to say some phrases I never got to say before, like Mick gets passed on the straight. Mick, obviously the car a little bit damaged, huh?
No, it wasn't damaged at all. It was we all sat on the grid after, because I got a memory error, and obviously a load of other guys got kicked out as well. So it's obviously the server. But I was just going to come straight in the interview and just call it a day from there. But I just thought, oh hell, I'll join up again. And then I just realised there's about 4 or 5 guys that had the same thing. And so we all decided to stop. And then when I pitted, I had 5-minute repair, which I forgot we was going to get, unless we drove around. So I was just sort of twiddling my thumbs, waiting for the time to go down. And then the pit guys filled me up with fuel, so I had a full tank of fuel in the race. Yeah, so it was a bit annoying coming out the slow corners, because I was just watching the guys just disappear off into the distance. But yeah, it was good. It was good fun, because you get to race with a few people that haven't raced, And good to see Adam, who's a new guy, come in and be able to race with us there. He didn't really know what was going on because he didn't have his chat turned on. So yeah, so we tried anyway. It's good to see the community trying something like this,
Joe, we went through all the possibilities why Mick wasn't fast, so that one didn't dawn on us.
Yeah, I had not considered that at all. We've also got Ben Zoko in here as well, who does some of the help in trying to organize the unofficial championship. Ben, how does that make you feel to see all the drivers be willing to slow up like that?
It's fantastic. It's absolutely credit to the community that we were all able to put aside, going for that win and just having a good race.
Bill? Was it, now you weren't as effective out there. You're a little bit off the pace. Were you, Le Mans not your favorite place?
No, I was expecting to do really well here, and I was, especially qualifying, I thought I would have done better. I felt competitive. I don't know if it was extra hot today or not, but I just didn't have the pace until later in the race then, when I was sort of almost keeping up with Bruce, who I consider a pretty handy driver. So yeah, at the start and the qualifying, not so good. Later in the race, yeah, much better.
All right, do any of you know this Adam Kell fellow who has showed up and seems to be able to run with the big guys? He's from your part of the land, Mick. Do you know much about him?
I don't know. I've met him. He was in the race earlier, and I just said, are you going to come to the broadcast race later? He said he hasn't driven the car for ages and ages. So no, I don't know him, but fair play to him. He was doing really well. I just want to say thanks to Michelle as well, because he shared my set after the race this afternoon. I was nowhere in pace in the race earlier, and his set was unbelievable. I blew my qualifying lap in this race, and I was only 4 tenths off of him. So, massive thanks to him for doing that.
Well, guys,
I'm actually a little bit familiar with Adam, I think, but I'm not 100% positive. I think he raced a series in late 2015, but I don't have the stats to look up right now. So.
Well, let's come back in and race with us again, Adam. Come on in for an interview. Hey, on behalf of GSRC, and I can speak for the guys at Tidal Influence, let me thank all of you guys giving us a show, giving us a something to broadcast. Otherwise, we would have had 10 laps of pretty much a parade. So thanks a lot, guys, for putting on a good show.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys.
Real quick, Bill, I know he doesn't have his name. We need to teach poor Jack how to change his name in TeamSpeak, but we do have Jack in here with us, and he'd like to talk to us before the race is out, because he always seems to miss out on the post-race interviews.
Yeah, but he was really responsible for trying to I think Michael stole my line, trying to herd the cats there to get things going. Jack, congratulations. I know you finished 11th, but you got to figure that you had a victory getting this thing putting on a show for us.
Are you hearing me okay?
We got
you.
Oh, great. Awesome. Hey, how about that? I actually get to get on an interview. I've tried like 3 times. I used to use TeamSpeak a long time ago, and it's been a little different for me getting everything set up right. But yeah, it was quite a challenge. You know, I felt like, man, if Ben and I had ever ran into this situation before, we may have been able to figure out things a little quicker. But we were just shooting from the hip there, and all I kept thinking was, number one was, you guys are doing the broadcast. We don't want to leave you guys, hanging. And plus the wonderful sponsor, Tidal Influence, we wanted to still put on a good show for them. And but all the audible discussions, I kept thinking about my late friend Chris Dameron. He wouldn't be able to hear anything of what we were discussing, and he wouldn't have known what the heck we were doing. And so I was trying to figure out, well, should we put in some chat messages for some of these guys? Because you never know. Their audio may not be set up right. They may not be hearing what we're discussing. And plus, it looked like some guys were pretty confused there. They kept asking questions over and over. And we kept trying to say, don't worry about what lap you're on. Don't worry about where you're starting from. Let's just race. And that's what we tried to do.
Yeah, we're done good. And I feel sorry for I think it's Igor Sadnik, because he was all of a sudden found himself in front. And then I think he finally caught on to something wasn't quite right. So, man, that was a good job. It was a fun race too. It was a good, too bad. Next season, Le Mans, hopefully the iRace will come back here, because I thought it was put on a pretty good show.
Well, it'll be even better next season, because it's going to be what it should be for these cars, the historic layout. And you think this was a good show, you ought to see us when we're running the historic layout. It's the only other track that rivals it as far as competitiveness and on-course battles is, of course, Monza combined without chicane. So I think this next season is going to be even better season. Plus, as you guys know, we're talking about moving it to a different time on Saturday. Hopefully, we're still trying to figure out the time that works best for most of the guys. So
cannot wait. It's some good racing you guys are putting on. Joe, you have anything else?
I got nothing other than just a big thank you to Jack for all that he's done behind the scenes on this, because it's been a joy this season to get to cover these guys.
Okay, with that said, Joe, why don't you escort all of them out of the booth here? Try not to bang yourselves there as they all leave the door at the same time. One at a time, guys. While that's going on,
get out of my way, Ben.
My way.
While the chaos as they leave, I'll read these closing credits. Go ahead, keep it up, boys. That's fine. Thanks to Jack Olstad and Benjamin Sokol for promoting and organizing the Lotus 49 World Cup Championship. Thanks to Tidal Influence, an ecological consulting firm based in Long Beach, California. They restore wetlands, save and study endangered species, and educates children about our environment. For more information, go to TidalInfluence.com. Joe?
Thanks to the software and hardware that we use for our broadcast, you can see on our screen. Additional thanks to our musical contributors Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde. You can find their music at the websites listed. Next race, going to be very different to this one. Brands Hatch, 25 laps around there. And that'll be May 28th, kicks off at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Definitely come back next week for that one. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at /Global Sim Racing Channel.
My cheeks are actually cramping from smiling so much. This was goofy, but I had fun. So finally, on behalf of Joe Peak, who you just heard, and our director Amjad Yaman, our camera artist Dougie Beard, and all the guys who made this possible. I'm telling all the racers out there that were able to get this thing for us. Thanks for watching. And with that said, we're off to have fun storming the castle. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.